let's get this going in the top right-hand side. It is going to be our blue Zerg player. This is Reynor, as we are going to play map 1 on Talisman again. All of the round of 12 matchups will have Talisman as map 1, and then the rest of the maps are vetoed down from a selection of 6. And then after this, from the round of 8 onwards, we will not be forcing any more maps, guys. So the rest of it will all be veto only. So, yeah. So for round of 8 games, it's all vetoes. It's just round of 12 that have Talisman forces map 1, because it was only played twice in comparison to a bunch of the other maps that were played 5, 6 times, and so on, and more. Some of them being played 8 times during this event. So we're just trying to narrow that distance between the least played map and the most played maps, and just make it so all the maps get a reasonable showing. Obviously, I think basically forcing it as map 1 in the round of 12 is pretty much the fairest way we can make a map catch up. So here in the bottom left-hand side, Reynor in the upper right, and what a treat of a series here in the Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament by WardiTV. I get the feeling, okay, you know, I don't do this a lot, but start the series, and this one's probably, you know, potential to be a good one. Probably ends up on the YouTube as like a separate upload. So I'm just going to make sure to quickly say, if you do watch this on the YouTube, you can obviously like and subscribe if you're watching live, but you can like and subscribe if you're watching this as a VOD on the YouTube as a separate upload as well later. Obviously, we do live stream everything on YouTube nowadays, but we also still upload one of the best series that we've had on the stream recently per day. We're going to try and get a bit more up-to-date on the YouTube, so we're going to be skipping a couple of tournaments and going for some more recent uploads instead of having as much backlog. So that'll be starting soon. This is one of the first tournaments that will be kind of part of the skip ahead. So yeah, if you're hearing this, you're liking the YouTube, like and subscribe. Always, yeah, always worth just mentioning. Like I say, we don't mention it in-game a lot, but it's worth saying for the times that it gets put up onto the YouTube channel separately. ZvT to patrol, and we do have a couple moments of early game kind of calm. It's going to be a Reaper coming across, but everything else looking pretty neat and tidy early on. What's up, John? Watching on YouTube. Nice that you can pin a message at the top. Yeah, I love getting the bracket at the top. I think, can we pin messages in Twitch chat nowadays as well? I don't know if that's a feature we have. I can't even remember, but yeah, it's nice to get the bracket at the top. It's always there. If you're watching the YouTube live stream, pinned message will always have the bracket in it, or information of what you're watching or expecting to watch through the day. Just in case you weren't aware. Talisman, funky map to start us off on. We do see the blue gold base being taken over on this side. Reaper sees the chance to get a drone, trying to open up the pathway here. Reynor responds in time to actually save that worker, which is impressive, because I think a lot of people would have just let that go down, but now this Reaper going to pay the price. It's going to get stuck in the corner. The Queen trying to make sure it doesn't get away. The Lings will try and get the block. It's good. And oh no, the Reaper grenade bops it back as well. And the Reaper goes down. So we nearly get a drone, but we don't. And then the Reaper ends up dying. Nice pick off for Reynor. Less scouting availability for Q at this stage. As Q, you can see he's setting up to do the same thing over here, which is to get that command center down, put it in position to move to that blue gold third base. This does seem to be the most common expansion pattern. When we've seen Talisman play out, it has been this natural into blue gold third more often than not. A couple of those drones going to come and nibble, just going to get their way through these minerals on that ramp, open up that space, and meanwhile it's Banshee, Hellions, Marine all coming through on the side of Kira as well, so we just get a lot of that setting up. A lot of that coming in. The Hellions they get one drone. We're still not quite mined through those minerals yet, so it's going to struggle to get some units down here defensively. The rocks on the right side block off this area as well, so it makes it difficult to come across with other units just from the natural. We will work on just cleaning those out and opening up the space between these bases, and that's something which I imagine both players are going to want to do in the near future. Now, Reynor has a Rotron. He's got a good amount of gas, but he's not using it yet. I don't think this is going to be like an aggressive set of roaches. And as he makes 5, he's going to go into drones as well, which suggests that no, this is not aggressive roaches. It's just going to be some roaches to help him play defense in these early stages, and then we can go from there. Obviously, you can use those roaches to help knock down those rocks if they're not protected either. As the Queens step forward, a couple creep tumors coming down, and the Hellions just going to step back on that left-hand side. Evolution Chamber still coming up, drones on the way. Barracks are coming through, Banshee on the way, cloaking being added on. The Hellions get back to the center. And again, we still have that cloaking coming up for the moment. Hellions to the right, Banshee up in toward the natural, and the Overlord just sitting overhead, keeping an eye on things. Couple of Spore Crawlers building from Reynor. We get those underway. The Banshee firing. A couple of drones nearly going down. One more Spore Crawler gets put into position there. The Banshee will again be there to try and push the... Queen will be there to push that Banshee back. That is just cloaking on the Banshee. Obviously, we have started to see a lot of Hyperflight Rotors usage in Banshee play. In ZvT and PvT, actually. Hyperflight Rotors is becoming just an alternative to cloaking, depending on how you want to play the Banshees. Sometimes depends a little bit on the map control, on the map layout as well, and just how you want to control the map. So, yeah, those Banshees get different ways to kind of be aggressive nowadays with that choice of upgrades both being kind of viable. Get the 1-1 coming through. The first Roach is taking some shots there. Lings and Roaches together will run back through the natural, pull back toward the further back location here. Evo Chamber taking a few shots as well. Carapace upgrade still building in. As we get the extra drones in production. Stimpack 1-1 all coming about. The extra barracks coming through also. And just the Hellions back down into the center. And again, considering continuing to relocate themselves, figure out where they can go and what they can do in the near future. They're going to come up this right side, find a random just active tumor spreading slap bang in the middle of all the other tumors. Going to get rid of that one easily. No scan for the rest just yet. And the Roaches are there to continue to try and play defense. Queens and the wall off as well, so as we try to kind of get through and kind of maybe, you know, have the chance to potentially threaten the natural. The Roaches are in position, and that will be good defense for the moment. Queen step over. Banshees will push this, will push back as well. 1-1 upgrades. Combat shield continue to come about as the medevac, marine, and tank continues on into play. The Hellions going to get after a few more creep tumors. Banshees get after a couple of creep tumors there. The Roaches are going to step across. Banshees going to be in position. The Queens will be stepping forward as well. Banshee's already in some trouble. Hellions come over. A couple drones going down. I mean, nice poking from these Hellions, but it's not been anything super crazy. I mean, Reynor's done a good job of negating them for the most part. Obviously trying to push creep out in toward the center of the map. Becoming a 4-base Zerg on the top side. And I wonder where he goes for base 5. Oh, he already shown us the middle base. I mean, then I wonder more so maybe what Kira is going to do overall for himself, and where Kira is going to try and push on this map, where he's going to try and find the pressure points, where he really feels like he can maybe break Reynor down and kind of make a breakthrough and make a push through in certain positions. These Marines are going to stem into Roaches, so that's going to be a short-lived adventure. They try and fight. There's too many Roaches, though. This is not a fight where you kind of knock a couple Roaches down and you're going to see the Marines win out. Ain't happening. As the Hellions will scan and get rid of a creep tumor. Good guys, trying to clean up that Monster Energy logo, looking nice and shiny again. Freaking Zergs, just creeping all over our sponsor logos. They didn't sign up for this, Zerg players, They signed up to get some advertisement and not get creeped on. Unbelievable, as per usual. The Marines actually take out an Overlord there. This is going to be a nice little grab as we still see 2-2 upgrades on the engineering base. The Queens will be there. Marines go on the other side. And the Feelings are going to run in just to completely force this back. The Hellions show up. We do have Bane speed on the way, so Reynor eventually going to end up on Ling Bane Ravager. Is going to be the plan from the lair tech, and we'll see how quickly he goes toward Hive. Starting to make melee upgrades here. That's how quickly he goes towards Hive. He's already on the Hive, but he's going to add Vipers on first. So that's going to be his Hive tech choice to start us out at the very least. There are siege tanks on the way. Remember, tanks can't be abducted no more. That doesn't stop them being blind and clouded. So Vipers will still definitely have a usage here. As it is still kind of Roach heavy as well, so it makes sense to kind of knock those tanks down and give the Roaches a good chance to advance forward. Good couple of Biles landing on a medevac and a siege tank, not bad at all just yet. And that's going to be another Bile. That tank and medevac were absolutely just magnetic to those Biles. That was not ideal, getting Bile down like that. Not quite what you're going for, as the Queen here taking quite a few shots off those Banshees. Queen goes down, now Marines pressing forward. Queen is going to fall in the center. Roach Ravager trying to hold up. The hatchery in the center goes down. The Roach Ravager still pushing through. We are going to try and make our way across. The Lings go on top of the siege tanks, and they will clean those up. Reynor on a little bit of lacking supply overall, though. Has not got much in the rebuild bank, already rebuilding a lot. Getting rid of the tanks is big, because obviously that does reset the splash damage of Kira, and that does a lot for you already as Reynor. Can he then get enough Banelings out to maybe run into this army and really have a high impact play? As Kira comes pushing up now around this left-hand side. Vipers available, Blind Clouds are going to be big here. As you do see the Banes flanking as well. Kira needs to start splitting up. The Banelings are taking a long time to go down because the tanks are all blind and clouded. Now the Banelings do not reach the bio in the background. too much running off of creep. We try and get the energy back on the Vipers ASAP. Gonna have to relocate them as they're under fire. The Banshee's trying to be annoying on the right-hand side at the same time as Cure will not break through yet. Getting close, but Reynor continues to make a hold. Cure behind all of this is saying, okay, time for a fourth base. He's actually getting Liberators, an extra factory on the way as well. So Cure looking to tech up now to this next stage. He's about to kill off that hatchery, which would bring Reynor down to a 4-base Zerg. A couple of corrosive vials trying to dot themselves in between those medevacs, trying to maybe get a cheeky grab or two here or there. Another Ravager finds itself going down as well, as you do see Brood Lanes popping out. That hatch that just goes down. Reynor, the 4-base Zerg player, does not have me feeling great. He is looking to either wrap around or counterattack with some units on the map. Counterattack may not be bad. If you can deny the fourth coming up from Cure, then you can kind of get away with being a 4-base Zerg a lot longer. Resources lost 2.5k in Cure's favor, so it has been efficient trades. I think we could have guessed that based on what we've seen so far. I don't think that is too surprising of an idea. This ends up just being a big wraparound. Reinforcements had not shown up just yet. Parasitic Bomb on the medevacs is going to start killing a couple of them. Corrosive Vials looking for the Liberators. Reynor continues to stream through. More Vials. Liberators going down. One last Liberator does fall there. The Bio now getting some revenge fire as it does push back the other way. A transfusion to keep the Ravager alive, and Reynor clings on for dear life in the middle of Talisman. Let's do melee upgrade on the way through from Reynor, seeing the Lingbane Roach still continuing up. The Banshees are going to get there and actually land themselves onto this hatchery. We can't let that go down. We do have transfusions available. I just love that these Banshees are still alive, just showing you just how much value you can find with these a lot of the time. The Marines get underneath, the Overlord goes down, hatchery cancelled over here as we still can't find a 5th base. And what is a problem is that Cure got to base 4, right? So Cure gets base 4 online and now starts to mine from that, and that makes this a much larger issue for Reynor, who is on his way to that Ultralis Cavern. +3 Carapace on the way up, 3/3 upgrades coming through from Cure as well, getting those online, bringing those into play. The Bio army still settling down as a few Banshees settle themselves together as well, and we have this army in general coming back across. Fling Roach Ravager still moving between the bases here. +3 melee, +3 Carapace coming online. We got the Ultra Cavern about to finish up as well. Reynor's close to being maxed, but he's not there yet. He's actually got 60 Lings in production that aren't on the field yet as well, so missing a lot of his army. And Cure is once again in this position. You can see the power of this for the Terran. Zerg can't really fight through that mineral line choke point very easily at all. This hatchery is super low. I mean, you're basically going to be forced to fight here in a second. Units are going to try and go around the other way. Reynor's splitting them preemptively, and it's just going to be the Lings running through. In we go. It is going to be running through this choke point. I tell you what, those Lings are going to have a good opportunity. They do ram this army in close together. So Cure actually takes a lot of splash damage off the Banes. Again, good Viper spellcasting gets rid of a lot of units here. Now we use Vials on that choke point to stop the Terran from chasing. Cure coming out of this once again a little bit beaten up. Resources lost about a 3,000 difference. The last 3 trades good for Reynor. If you've only lost 500 resources more in those last 2 big engagements, then these fights are going better for you than expected. Unfortunately, this is a base going down. Corrosive Vial gets rid of, I think, 1 full medevac. That, I think, was a full one. Didn't quite get to see. The base goes down, but maybe at a little bit of a cost. Queen's on the right side trying to play defense. His units just run in. Queens will buy some time, and they will live, 2 of them, and this base will survive. Essential for Reynor after losing that top left base. He can't afford to just lose all of his base here and have nothing remaining. So getting back on track. Doesn't rebuild this hatchery here, does just rebuild the top side. Obviously, being down hatcheries means you're down on production because you're not going to have as much lava, and not that he has an excess of resources right now, but maybe that could be a factor. Burrow on the way. We do see Infestors added on. A couple of Fungals could be huge in this game. There's been a lot of stacked up bio units, right? So taking a couple of moments to try and make things happen there could be nice. Couple of Biles coming in. Bio gets pushed back. Ling on the bottom right side as the 5th base comes up from Cure. That's my issue, is that Reynor's just not had any way to really do anything about these bases of Cure that keep coming online. So Cure's just going to be able to keep on expanding, keep on getting more powerful. Meanwhile, Reynor's always the one that's just about hanging on in there. Definitely seeing this map be pretty good for the Terran, being able to get forward. A lot of the fights here will happen in the center and be immediately on top of Terran bases. A lot of positions you can sit behind choke points and take advantage towards the Zerg bases as well. And Cure, once he's been set up in these positions, has definitely been able to make advantage of it. It's been some great fights from Reynor to get him out of trouble here and there. It's a massive fungal grove. Holy cow. So yeah, we actually have more Infestor energy. We could have gone for more. He decides to back off and not go for it just yet. He has no follow-up is the problem. He has no damage output in the army. A lot of the units across the map setting up. Ultra's already dead. I mean, if nothing else, those fungals, though, will keep the Medivacs drained of energy for a bit. And now we're going to get some counter damage into the main, into the natural. We're going to see a lot of SCVs available for grabs here. And this is going to force you to kind of come back as Cure. Now, he can run through his third base and into the main base, so that's an option. Bling's looking for a wraparound. The Baneling gets target-fired. Great job, Cure. Looking over there and paying attention to it. Not letting that get away from him in this moment. Hatchery low. Reynolds going to be forced into a fight. Ultra running through, but there's Liberator Fire that's going to rain down from above. Parasitic bombs across the Medivacs. Reynolds really going for the play, which is to deny the Medivacs, deny the healing, and eventually you kind of bleed out of this game because you can't keep stuff alive. Reynor did okay on this counterattack, but it's just not being good enough, and he doesn't have the army supply. And because of his hits on his bases, he doesn't have the resources to rebuild the army supply either. Yeah. Ultra coming up, Bling's on the way. Marine Marauder, tank and medevac building through. We had the missile turret, we had the planetary fortress. Still there's a couple of additional Ultras coming up. The Infestor coming about. The Vipers ready themselves. Two more Lings going to go around the left-hand side. Going to get an immediate catch on a tank, but it will be saved. Lings will get there. The depot will go down. Still trying to make a defense on this side with Fungal Ultra. Oh, it's getting messy. The tanks as well. Choke point is just deadly right now, but Reynor has no chance to really do much else in this. Couple of Marauders stepping forward. The other Ultras coming through as well. We are going to be seeing another battle. We get rid of that first Liberator. We get rid of the tank as well. Can Reynor keep this going some way, somehow? Catches one more Fungal. Those units in the front are dying, but so many of the Zerg units, right? I mean, these Ultras are so low, and we're just about keeping them alive in this game. Boy, do we need to. We desperately need these Ultras to just stick around. If those Ultras don't stick around, we are in so much trouble. Medevac takes a chance to boost forward and see what's up. Looking at this army, there's no anti-air here apparently. Oh, just going to give us the vision for the snipe. Drops the Fungal on the Ghost. We will kill the Ghost in return, but we're not in the business of really affording replacement Infestors right now, especially as this hatchery dies. Reynor will have to send these drones to the far left side of the map. That maybe changes the push direction from Cure a little bit. But I mean, the top left is not a fun base to hold on to either, because there's going to be high ground above it that you can siege up on. So it's going to be the same issue for Reynor. Like, it's so tough to engage into this Terran army at every point in time right now. 18-minute game. Infested burrowing up underneath, going to get under there, but it has no energy currently. Cure kind of sets up to play more the middle. I mean, if there's ever a time for Reynor to maybe win a fight, this could be it, simply for the fact that it's a more open space. But if there's ever a time for Reynor to not win a fight, it's probably right now, because he's down 40 army supply. Cure is maxed out, and Reynor just does not have the money to stick around on it. A couple scans across the board, a few Zerglings going down. Bling's going to take the chance to knock down some rocks on the left-hand side. They're going to break up into this mineral line where depots will be under fire. A few Marines take a chance to run across at those Zerglings, trying to play cleanup, trying to shut it down. Bling, Bane, Ultra, Infestor still in production. Reynor just getting the scraps of anything he can afford here. What's dangerous now is that Cure is obviously going to be in a position to kind of push where he wants. B, he's going to have a bank account because he's not actually lost units in a little while. So the rebuild from Cure is now going to be nigh on instantaneous. And I just don't think Reynor has enough to take one big fight to kind of, you know, punish the Terran production, you know, the way that Terran production works. There would have to be a fight in small parts, in which case the bank account will always replace. Run by does nothing. Good tank positioning. Love it in a choke point as well. Another parasitic bomb. I tell you what, the Vipers have worked overtime in this game. They've done so much. That Infestor burrows only to be scanned, taken out anyway. And Reynor again is clinging on for dear life. He is going to be close to maxing out, 115 to 135. A couple barrels onto the siege tank. The medevac's coming over. Bio still joining up together. Overlord's pulling back a little bit. The Ling Ultra back around the natural, the main. Couple of shots going down. Drones taking damage. Marine Marauder continues to come into play at the moment. Army is going to step forward. A couple of ghosts are going to snipe. It's going to move up. Hatchery will take a few shots of damage. A couple of Ultras will be under fire. This base is going to be going down. The Viper's gathering as well. A couple of Ghosts still on the way. Marine Marauder tank producing through, trying to get cloaking on the way as well. Vipers with some parasitic bombs down onto the medevacs. I mean, your main base is under fire. 21 minutes in, Reynor's going to collapse on the back line, only to have a bunch of Ghosts snipe through him. And Cure is going to drag Talisman into his favor. Cure to get the 1-0 lead on the map. That was again forced upon these guys, and I get the feeling that that might have been a veto from Reynor, should Talisman putting up tournaments and giving us more to work with. In the top right-hand side, we've got some TVZ to work with right now. Our blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Cure. He's up 1-0 in the best of 5. Playing against the red Zerg down to the bottom left-hand corner from Basilisk. It's Reynor. Round of 12. Winner meets Hero tomorrow in the round of 8. This section of the bracket is brutal. So that's the beauty of these competitions. That's the beauty of the groups kind of going a bit funky at times. Some of these bracket sections become absolutely stacked. Obviously, top half of the bracket isn't exactly much easier. Max Specs Classic was a round of 8. Clem is in a round of 8 win for Bjorn or Lambo. That's the next couple of matches up as well. Wardy, do you ever think about making tournaments for lower level players instead of pros? I mean, so I actually, when I first started casting, that was pretty much everything that I did. I just transitioned into working at, putting on I transitioned into making content based around, higher level players and stuff. And the TLDR nowadays is that a lot of the time I would say I just don't have time to run events for lower level players. And the reality is obviously that the viewership's not there. I mean, I'm very real with myself, and, a lot of my viewership is here because we have great players on the screen, and we consistently have great players on the stream, and so people support us more as a tournament organizer point of view than an exciting streamer point of view. The reality is that there's not a lot of value in me running tournaments for lower level players because people just don't want to watch me talking about lower level games. People really show up to the stream for the higher level players a lot of the time, so... It's a lot of the time, it's just more worth it for me to put on another high-level event than something lower-level, even if it costs less to run the lower-level thing, because what we get out of running the lower-level tournament just there's not really much of anything. And, like I say, I already usually cast a lot of StarCraft, so it's never something we look to run as a bonus, Can I nerf A-levels? You don't have time to play StarCraft? Ugh. Yeah, I mean, I can't help you on that one. Just work super hard for like a month, pass them early or something, and then boom, bang. Take the rest of the year for StarCraft. Surely. Surely. Let's take a moment or so, Reaper coming about, that link speed coming online, early game looking cozy. We do have a forward third hatchery here from Reynor, so expanding toward the center of Old Republic pretty quickly. This map's actually had quite a lot of the mirror matchups played on it in this tournament, so while it's been a heavily played map, it's actually been played in a lot of mirrors, so happy to see it in a matchup like TVZ. Traditionally, one of the longest matchups that we have in StarCraft 2 is TVZ, and again, because TVZ is a lot about the mechanical back and forth and map control fighting, it's a really good matchup to test out maps a lot of the time. So, excited to see some Old Republic here for this map 2 of our best of 5 round of 12. As yeah, starport coming up, link speed on the way. Well, Helena's building through, the Queen and the link speed is coming online. No surprises in that regard just yet. You just see the Reaper going to get turned around and pushed back the other direction. If you guys, so just to while you have a moment or two of calm, just if you guys genuinely were interested in seeing some like lower league events and stuff, like we could try running some. Like I haven't tried running lower league stuff in a long time. The reason I just gave is based on how it was a long time ago. Like we could arguably make some lower league stuff. I also just don't know if we get like a player base, right? Like. We need enough players to make it worthwhile on the day and stuff as well, so it's one of those things where it's like, is it, would it work out? Like, it's a bit of a step out of my comfort zone. It's like, it's almost like it sounds weird, but it's like a risk where it's like, I could just also just cast more great StarCraft at the high level, you know. I think as well, like, I enjoy StarCraft at the higher level too. You know, I know for a fact I wouldn't like to cast my own replays. They're miserable to watch, so... you know? And that's not to me... That doesn't mean that, like, lower level StarCraft can't be fun to watch. I just... Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. I'm going to see the couple Hellions and the Reaper. Just going to move about. The Lings will take a chance to open up some rocks. Almost always want to have open space as a Zerg. Less places for the Terrans to put their tanks behind and settle down armies is going to be a lot of fun. Plus, a couple of Hellions come through. That cloaking coming up. Baneling Nest is starting. We add on that lair. Get a few drones coming out. Queen in production. Oh, and Q is going to play mech. Wow. Do more factories and mech on the way. Like, this is really a... really an interesting time to crank out the mech, isn't it? And obviously mech is... You know, are we going to play Cyclone mech, even though Cyclones are nerfed? Because the bug was fixed and their lock-on time is now reduced. There was the... I mean, the other bug was that the upgrade now works properly on Cyclones. I'm not sure how big a factor that is, versus just being able to lock on repetitively. This could also be one of those things where if Reynor just doesn't see what's coming in time, it could be very troublesome where you just don't know about the fact it's mech until too late, and then you're in a bit of trouble right off the bat. And right now, Reynor's not making any real bid to kind of scout here. He's just sat back, doing his thing, and meanwhile, Q again is greedy with the mech as you can, right? Extra factories, extra armories, straight into all of the infrastructure, straight into the upgrades that are going to, you know, really power you up through the game. And Reynor is building to Bane speed. Pretty sure as an unranked player, people would watch you for comedy. Yeah, maybe it's just a different style of StarCraft. People aren't watching for the entertainment. They're watching for the laughing entertainment rather than the, oh, that's so cool entertainment. I mean, like I said, like, lower level StarCraft is still fun to watch. Like, evenly matched StarCraft 2 is typically just fun to watch in general. Yeah, it's been a while since we tried stuff like that. Hey, what's up, Jeff? Thank you so much for the 100 bits. Wedding dowry from Papa. Thank you so much for the 100 bits. We're running an event with players between 5 and 6k MMR. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, this is the sort of thing we could look into. I'm just scared of, like, putting the time into an event like that and then, like, 4 people sign up and I'm like, oh. Then I feel like the day is wasted, you know? I don't know. Anyway, +1/+1 coming up. Vehicle upgrades, that is, and Infernal Pre-Igniter, that blue flame coming online as well. As Banshees have already gotten themselves through a few drones, now picking themselves through a few creep tumors in the early stages. Taking the chance to step on through, Banshee will put a bit more work in, Infestation Pit will drop down into the back as again melee, carapace, and the missile upgrade all on the way at once, so Reynor just going to get a flurry of upgrades. Gonna be working on Burrow as well, and now starts up the Hive. A lot of options for Reynor at this point in terms of what he goes into. Currently just kind of roachling Bane. Obviously with Hive coming up, you're gonna give yourself some options as well. We'll see what his decision is in terms of the composition he wants to play against this mech army. The music could be slightly quieter. It should be the same volume as always. It's probably just that this map is... or this current track of music is just a bit louder than some of the others. It should quieten down if it changes song or so. I don't think it's... the settings are the same as they've been for a year, so it shouldn't be different. But if it really is too different, let me know. I will, you know, push a couple things around if we need to. These Hellions are having a very good time initially. Finally, some more Lings showing up. Can they do enough surrounding here? I'm going to say not really, right? Like, these Lings run in... But the Banes never catch up, the Roaches never really get much of a chance. Spire on the way from Reynor as the Hive is about to finish. Now you've got Blue Flame Hellions chasing down Roaches, and that's never a good sign. If the Terran feels like that Hellions can take a good fight against Roaches, something has gone extremely wrong. So really not a pretty situation on that one. Is +1 missiles, Roach speed, and +2 carapace continue to come up as well. Greatest Spire on the way, so Reynor's going to rush the Broodlords here. Q gets a couple of Vikings coming out. In general, that's just good against Hive Tech because the Vikings can then zone out the Vipers. I can't believe how much he's doing with just the blue flame Hellions on the map. Like if this was like Hellion Cyclone, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. But it's just Hellions. Now they're going to run up over here. Yep, this is a wraparound that's going to get the kills. So this time we do clean the Hellions up. Reynor gets that KO. I mean, that's what he was kind of looking for before. A new wave of Hellions on the map. The problem is with your when you're playing against mech is that Hellions are super replaceable. So you clean out one set of Hellions and the next set is already here. And this time it's the whole last army which is already here. Greater Spire isn't ready yet. We're a mile away from the Broodlords. And I think Reynor is in trouble. He's going to dive while a lot of the tanks are on siege. But the Hellions are now Hellbats and they roast the Zerglings out of here. And I mean, realistically, you can't just be playing for Broodlords and not have the Broodlords, right? Is what it's coming down to. He's going to have an attempt to play defense still because he will be able to morph in some Broods. The fact there's already a few Vikings in the sky is a big problem. We're going to need a couple of Corruptors to remain as Corruptors. Maybe we move 6 Broods right now, and then the rest of the Corruptors in production are the defense against those Vikings. It really is just 4 Vikings versus the Broodlords. Like, there's no Thors out either. Because this is very fast. Yeah, immediately he sees it now, and immediately a Thor starts in production. So this is the first time Kira realizes what's up. Reynor will lose the forward hatchery, replacing it with the base to the left side. It's not a pretty position, but it's likely going to become a defense, no? Because, I mean, there's just nothing to kill off the Broodlords. Like, the Vikings, as long as we get Queen and Corruptor after these Vikings, the Broodlords can push forward. And now these siege tanks are just going to start going down. Kira is not trying to unsiege, letting the Corruptors fly on through at him. Extra tanks showing up. I was going to say, Kira, I think we really got to start turning around. Like, it's all well and good bringing these extra tanks in, but that's not what we need. You're going to get those Broodlords through to clean up those last couple of tanks, and that is Reynor pushing this back. He gets a lot of value on this, but the problem is the next fight is not going to look the same. Because next time around, Kira is going to have an army that's made to deal with Broodlords as well. With those Thors on the way out, that's going to become much more of a problem. Hellions moving the Hellbats over here, and that base is just going to go down, so it's just too disconnected from the rest of the map for Reynor to really get there and truly defend against it super comfortably, so not exactly ideal. Roach Ravager shows up. I mean, you're trading Hellbats into Roaches, like, that's gas for minerals. Reynor doesn't love it. Like, he's got to clean this up, but it's not super fun. Here are the Corruptors once again, pushing back the Vikings. Kira coming in aggressively, and I mean, the couple of Broodlords are trying to try and do their thing. There are the Queens to transfuse a little bit, try and keep these Broods alive. Queens off creeps who are missing the transfusions. Gonna drop another few Broodlings down, forcing friendly fire. Corruptors trying to get through and on top of the Vikings once again. More Thors on the way out. Reynor is just going to be hanging on here. I mean, the story of this series, Reynor is going to be hanging on by a thread. That was true in Game 1. It's becoming true here in this Game 2. Like I say, Broodlords are typically this kind of like one-time, boom, I'm going to make a Broodlord switch, and that's going to be fun. And it usually is fun, right? Having Broodlords as your defense at first, and then continuing to play Broodlords throughout feels very, very difficult. As the few Ravagers get there, pushing the Hellions back the other way. Additional siege tanks coming out. A little bit of lag, guys. That's on our side. That's on our screen. It's probably just that connection to Korea. As we are going to see Ling Bing jumping on this. The tank's going to get jumped on quickly. The Thors are hitting Lings. Can I argue this is a good fight from Reynor in some way? If we can get rid of the Thors, maybe. The Broodlords are not doing enough. The Thors stand strong. Right now, a swarm of Lings that he had before would have been amazing because all the Hellbats are gone. It's just Tank Thor. Lings could have done very well. Kira morphs Hellbats into Hellions, tries to run them into the mineral lines here. Smart Servo's doing work as well, letting those Hellbats transform so quickly from one way to the other and just making it miserable for Reynor to try and find a defense. You get into Hellion mode, you're mobile, you get into Hellbat mode, you're great against Zerglings. So frustrating to try and clean up, and man, like even this last Hellion is putting on some work. Finally, the Zergling gets the kill on it, as Kira has been still trying to push down this location here. Reynor is maxed out. Has a couple Vipers being brought into play as well. Nice additions. Is it going to be enough? It's a lot of Lings counterattacking. I mean, hey, there's going to be an entry point there. That's not a full wall off. Little mistake made, and obviously maybe take this wall off down and leave it open for later. If nothing else, this forces you back a little bit as well as Cures, so you actually have to pay some attention back to the other side of the map. And that's not happened in a while, and Reynor's actually going to get through for a few SCVs as well. gets all of those depots. Doesn't supply block Cure, but it obviously opens up that space where now you're not walled off like you were before, or at least as you were intended to be, because let's be realistic, the wall was not actually complete, believe it or not. A little bit of a gap there, a little bit of a mistake made as Thor and Tank army will move toward the middle of the map here. Will take some steps forwards. Hellions, Tanks, and Thors making their way into the center of the map currently. Vikings and Tanks still building through. We add on a ship upgrade as well. A few Zerglings getting around, and a couple of those depots are going to be under fire once again. Tank shooting, dealing good damage. The Ling's taking some shots. It's an army through the middle of the map right now from Q. A big push through the center as we go and try and force Reynor into a fight. He wants to jump on this quickly before the tanks are siege. Oh, the blinding clouds all over the first layer of siege tanks. Is that going to be good enough? Corrosive Vials coming down. Now the tank's getting freed from their blinding clouds. A lot more Lings on the way. Did we keep enough alive here from Reynor for the reinforcement wave to clean up? He's going to start coming in as some of the Zerglings start spawning. I mean, Thor's in the front, getting jumped on. The few Broodlings coming down are taking some of the tank shots as well. We're going to get forward. We had no additional Viper, otherwise a few blinding clouds in the back here would have been amazing. But Reynor is going to clean up this army. He's going to push it back. And this army from Cure is in full retreat mode as Reynor chases it down. Thor dead, Tank dead, everything dead. And Cure is down a 150 supply. Reynor with the fight as he jumps on that quickly and easily. Dismantles it and takes it down again. Sorry guys, the game is a little jumpy right now. That is simply, again, just our connection to Korea. The players will not be seeing that. So it is just, again, it's in-game. It's not the stream even. It's literally just the Korean server not being our friend. Like I say, the players do not feel that. It's not affecting the engagements. If it was, they would have paused by now. Double Hellions will get to the top left. They're going to go in after that hatchery, so the Hellbats morph and Hellbats start to do their thing. The Lingbane, Roach Ravager, Viper coming around the right-hand side here as we make a dive up to the top. And in we go. Planetary Fortress immediately in some trouble. Those few Balins could get these SCVs. That's a big base denial. Right now we've got enough numbers here from Reynor to kind of run in a bit more comfortably, especially because he's got a lot of money in the bank. So as he loses a bit of this fight, his rebuild potential is huge. Wondering what he rebuilds as well. Is it just going to be more Ling Roach Ravager, or do we have something else he maybe wants to start adding on later in this game? Corrupt is, of course, Explain a base on the other side as well. They do insane DPS, so there's a chance they actually do some good work there. This fight's still ongoing, like it's super drawn out, but anytime you're getting rid of a tank, it's money that Kira is going to struggle to replenish. I mean, this orbital is savable, right? Like, there's enough SCVs to stop this from dying, and it's just the lack of anti. I mean, you need to pull a few more SCVs onto it. The command center is now not officially dying anymore, but it is stopping mining. It's annoying. Now the Vikings show up and the Corruptors are okay with what they achieved here. I mean, it was very unlikely they got the kill, but it was still a distraction and annoyance. We are going to lose those Corruptors' mind. Ling, Roach, Bane, Viper, all still coming through. A few additional Queens coming out. Extra Ravagers morphing from Reynor on the bottom side of the map. Going to rally those across into the center here. The Lings are going to continue to join up. The Cyclone's still on the way. The Magfield Accelerator are part of this. Planetary Fortress not far from being done. Cyclones now, yeah, I'm kind of wondering about it too. I wonder if Kira suddenly feels the need for mobility in this army and something a bit more kind of versatile than the tanks, but I mean, I haven't seen a lot of battle mechs since the Cyclone change, quite frankly, in TVZ, so I don't know how it's going to fare. I don't know how those Cyclones look right now, but it doesn't feel great. I can't imagine that this is something that's going to feel good right now. As Reynor sets up for the counterattack up that right side, the Roach Ravager settling on the left side. Good depot raise. I see the Ling's just going to attempt to go through the depots, going to go after a couple of the Cyclones. Those are good free pickings. That's value, right? It's minerals for gas units. And Reynor at this point is starting to be rich, and he's taking base after base. 2 hatcheries on the production tab right now already. And it's just a case for him of just keeping Kure from ever really kind of feeling overly comfortable. I think Reynor's army is always going to be good from here on out. The main thing is if Kure gets a max, there's always that chance Kure takes one really good fight, and maybe the game has some kind of snowballing potential from there. A Planetary Fortress goes down, Corrosive Vials are well placed. We are going to be seeing this mech force trying to move through. Just unsieged tanks kind of tells it all, as Kira is desperate just to get forward and do something, but unsieged tanks are also not great at dodging Vials, because they're slow moving, so that rain of Vials has been surprisingly effective here. And we'll drop a few more Vials again, just force those tanks to back off, and actually getting some connections too. Going to try and drop some mules onto that base. There's Lings now showing up. Again, the numbers are just there in Reynor's favor. He doesn't need fancy units at this point. The low-tech units in good numbers will get it done. because there's just not enough from Kira, as he's going to go sub 100 supply with these losses. And at that point, it always feels bad when the Zerg is still swarming you in every way, shape, and form. GG gets called, and Kira Reynor continues to be a banger, with Reynor tying this series. Turn my my fee for running this event into prize money. I think this is going to be the first time in, like, I want to say like probably like 3 or 4 years of the map contest tournament where I'm not turning my fee into prize money, because we've been using my fee just to buff the prize money a bit the last couple of years. This year I actually need the extra couple $100 that come in as my fee, so I'll be taking it. But yeah, it's usually we just kind of appreciate the good content we get, and we run the ads and we make the stream money and all of that stuff. Anyways, enough about me, enough about money. I know money's a big thing, but let's sit back and enjoy some StarCraft instead. In the top left-hand side, our red Zerg is Reynor, and in the bottom right, our blue Terran is Kua. Thank you, Sesames, for the 6-month resub. Cheers for the support of SC2. No worries. Thank you so much for supporting SC2 with your sub. When was the last time Blizzard chipped in for the TLMC? I don't know. Whenever you go on Wikipedia and find the one that wasn't sponsored by Monster. Monster basically replaced Blizzard as like the TLMC sponsor, I'm pretty sure. You'll probably also see when the tournament prize money got cut down. Is also when I think it changed. Yeah. Because this used to be a $4,000 event. And then it was a $3,000 event. And this time it's a $2,500 event. So, yeah. You can probably figure it out if you go back and backtrack. I can't remember when that was, though. What's up, Cranky Ducklings? Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody, from the Ducklin stream. Hope you've had a good time. We are in the middle of a great Kua versus Reynor series. It's been a banger here so far. And the last thing I'm going to say, off topic, is thank you to Black Bear for the $3 super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. Let's see what this TVZ has in store for us on 10,000 feet. So, this map's interesting, and I do wonder if Reynor approaches it any differently today than he did yesterday. This forward hatchery is what he took yesterday, and this map base is very interesting, where you've got these kind of rocks that kind of stop you going left and right as the Terran for a while in the game, but eventually you can kind of move that around. Obviously, sieging tanks here can hit this position. That's really the only base that's super abusable. I mean, maybe up here, sieging tanks. This is an interesting choice as well for this base. Reynor mines out these minerals early and goes in that direction. Does not save the drone. And that is going to be the Reaper hopping to the high ground as single kill still for now. Not going to find much else just yet. Remember, back on Talisman, he lost the Reaper early. But right now, this Reaper is causing a little bit of chaos as Reynor is playing greedy. So he's playing no Zerglings, which makes it more possible for this Reaper to stick around for longer. So it's a little bit of greed out of Reynor at the price of it being way more difficult for him to actually, you know, keep stuff alive. I mean, that's a drone that's going to just about be saved there. I think the Queens are going to cut this Reaper off now. Oh, yes. I thought the Queen had taken one step too close. But that is going to be good. So defense made. It's going to have the Creep Tumor going down at the front. A couple of Creep Tumors dropping then. We start to spread out on this natural expansion. Queen, drones, hatchery, all still building through. We have a couple of Marines going to sell. Observer going to take a look at this bouncing ball. Oh, yep. That was my first criticism of this map. But this, I think, has become one of my favorite maps of this TLMC. I said this a lot yesterday. I'll say it again now, for fairness' sake. It's been really fun to watch. I love the way that the middle of the map works. I love the way the rotations go. I love how armies move on it. It's just been such an entertaining map to bear witness to, you know? Like, all of the games just have, like, an element of fun, and they're very active. So, I've really been enjoying this map. Excited to see what the players think of it as well when we get some feedback from them. But, yeah, I think this is one of the ones that's going to get one of my high votes. I think I'm starting to think as well about which maps I'm going to add to the WardiTV map pool for WardiTV Mondays and other events. You know, trade out some of the maps that are currently in the ladder map pool. We're probably going to put 2 or 3 new maps in. So this is definitely one of my candidates for that right now. Kind of like this. I kind of like Ruby Rock. I mean, the thing is, so much of it is just preference, though, as well. Because honestly, like, so many of these maps in this TLMC could just be whacked onto the ladder right now, and they'd be great, you know? At the end of the day, like, so many of these maps are just a very fun kind of play state. They're fun to see new maps. They play good games. You know, very few of them have a lot of very few of them have like issues that kind of keep them from being playable, as the orbital is going to come around over to that right-hand side. Hashtag Team Talisman. Yeah, you know what? I think well, maybe Talisman will make it through a community vote, but based on player feedback, I think it may not. To be fair, Talisman's probably not bad in a 9-map map pool. Because I think it's kind of bad in a couple of matchups, but it's probably kind of fine and fun in other matchups. So like in a 9-map pool, it's probably okay. As long as it's going to be an insta-veto for some matchups, though, is the reality of it. So just going to see the Marines get a few creep humors here. Reynor going to be supply blocked as well. Roach is coming out to play some defense early. It's not been an easy series for Reynor. Like, that last game was a lot of surviving and hanging on in there until the last seconds, and then turning the game around. It'd be great to see him have like a more comfortable opening of the game, and then just, you know, have a bit of an easier time from the start. Kua diving for that queen, does not get queen number 2. He got the first queen kill there, but move commanded through a little bit as we're going to try and drop to the high ground. Reynor will help to speed up the killing of those rocks and just access up here as well. Like I said, I don't think you want to have that place unaccessible, because if it's not accessible, you're in a weird position where like tanks up there could support a low ground group of Marines. Obviously your creep is there, so it's going to stop the rocks dying off naturally. So I think Reynor is kind of okay to speed up the process of knocking some rocks down and kind of opening that space. It looks like, oh, he's going to expand down the left side. What an interesting kind of change of expansion pattern from what we saw from Reynor yesterday. So just working all the way down this left side of the map in comparison. That's going to be his 4th location with an infestation pit already coming online. And these medevacs just looking for opportunity. They're going to boost heavily toward the natural. There's a spore there. Queen showing up. Roach is already in position as they go all the way toward the main base. These medevacs are going to be in a bit of an awkward spot where they're probably, they're going to have to boost again to minimize the damage taken. And they're still going to end up a little bit hurt. I actually think Queens have just intercepted them too. Yep, those medevacs are not having a good time down this left-hand side. Surely Queens don't reach that. I was going to say that would be disgusting. That would have been a nerf territory. As the medevacs up the right side going to go after some creep tumors. As I have a quick moment before I forget, Headfield's Downstroke, thank you so much for the 29-month resub, using that Prime, supporting the stream, supporting the tournaments. Thank you so much for being awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you so very much. As the few Marines step back, a couple Lings going down, Roach is stepping forward as well. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay here, right? A few more as Marines going to be forced to lift up and pull back. Just seeing the 2-2 upgrade still building in on the side of Kua. We get Marine Tank on the way up, Medevacs on the way, Melee and Carapace upgrades building, Balin speed on the way out. I mean, Reynor on his way to Hive Tech. The later this game goes, I'm always going to feel good about Reynor, right? The longer these games go, the more he has a chance to kind of secure the map and have multiple engagements to decide, you know, the game. I think I'm always going to like Reynor in those scenarios. It's the early, mid-game pushes and shoves from Kua that are so deadly and dangerous that get me worried, and especially when he has good early games and starts putting on pressure early. He's going to show up here, and he's going to get those tanks sieging. This is a very open area of the map. Like, you can engage from top and bottom onto this army very easily, so if you can do that as Reynor, then this army is going to be in a little bit of trouble, perhaps. We'll see if Reynor can find that opportunity, as right now he might just let this hatchery go down, 5th base being denied. Here, not wasting time, just moving up, getting in position, taking that out, and he is going to establish his own 4th base over to the right side. Kind of makes sense. Honestly, it's the middle base is one that I imagine the Terrans are going to be more likely to take than the Zergs. Explosive Vials there do get through, knock one tank down already. Reynor is not eager to rush into a fight or anything. He's not pushing toward anything too soon. Bottom left base, the only thing I'll say about it is it's very far away from any creep spread, right? So it's very disconnected. Right now, Kua's not putting attention down there, but it's the kind of position that I don't imagine is going to be easy for Reynor to hold on to. If Kua ever catches wind and thinks about, the fact that this is down there and that maybe we should do something about it, it's going to be a tough base to hold on to. Obviously, Reynor not exactly having much more fun in the middle of the map, mind you. As I thought he might have felt good enough about maybe collapsing on that army, but like I say, maybe getting from 2 sides. Right now, Kua's going to push further up. He's going to have a siege on the natural. I mean, this position becomes kind of nasty. I didn't really consider this position because I never really thought Reynor would let Kua so far to the right, but because he's playing so much of the left side of the map, this right side is actually pretty exposed. I have to try and set up some Widow Mines here initially before we truly fight in and get some good connections off. The Roach Drone going down is fine. What's more dangerous is losing your Carapace upgrade. No, no, no. Blinding Cloud to try and buy time. Oh, the Blinding Cloud saves the Carapace. And we are going to finish the upgrade as well. Corrosive Vial is going to go for the double kill on the Siege Tanks as well. What a save for Reynor as +2 Carapace finishes. That Evo Chamber will now go down as we are going to bust in on the other side of the map. Counterattack with a lot of units, and Reynor is going to find Kira, I think, pretty unprepared. Splitting some Lings away from the Widow Mine. The only thing I will say is that those Marauders are holding that ramp very well. What a turnaround from Kira defensively. He's actually going to make that a hold. That's very nice. Now, Reynor does end up losing his +2 melee upgrades, but I mean, I think I like Carapace a little bit more, especially because Ultras are coming out. Adrenal Glands will be done soon. Kindness on the way. Reynor's going to have a more comfortable time very shortly. Cure currently supply block, nothing. Well, okay, 1 CC on the way, and now the depot's on the way to fix that. Reynor's going to be maxed out soon. The big interesting thing now is that Cure obviously had a lot of units back down on the bottom side of the map. Yeah, they're going to take a turn to that bottom left base. So I think Reynor's going to lose that, but he's going to get to this point where he's getting Ultras coming out and maybe can take an army advantage sometime soon here. We'll see what these Ultras can do. Kindness is a little bit away. Oh, I love this, coming back in with these Lings. Another little run-by opportunity. First Ultras popping out. Viper's around, and we are going to hit with the Banelings as well. Cure not watching, honestly, and takes a lot of damage. Reynor has money to spend to rebuild with. Cure not so much. As you are going to see, this army over here, though, has gone from one base to the next. The Banes are going to show up, and I think this hatchery is going to go down. Marines are getting caught by the Banelings. A lot of bio did go down, but Reynor is now a 3-base Zerg player, having to replace the 4th and having to replenish that base. Definitely seeming problematic for him as Reynor gets himself a few more Ultras out. Infesta, Burrow continue to come through. The Lings are in production. The Liberator Bioforce coming online as well. We add on the 3 upgrades. And the army comes over to the right side. Double expanding Reynor. He wants to get back on track. Triple expanding Reynor, actually. So 3 hatches coming down. Adding on an Infestor, something that can maybe help him to buy time against some of these pushes. Liberators and Ghost Academy now on the way up as well. So the preparation for the later stage comes up from Kua. Reynor's made some good attempts at Kua's bases, but he's not actually been as successful as I originally thought he was. That first run by of the Ling Bane I thought was going to be deadly. But those Marauders held that ramp so well for other units to come back and reinforce. There's 1 hatch going down. That's allowable when you're rebuilding so heavily here. Still got an open area to attack in over here. 9 more SCVs dead. Bio starting to show up from the main base, so we will probably fall back with those Lings now, but it's another chunk of SCVs going down that Kua has to consider as a loss. Kua now, here's one of the issues we're having right now, is that getting out from this right side is going to become a difficulty. So Kua expanding on the right, going to start holding the right, and that means Reynor may have to go back to that bottom left base, but that's far away. I think Reynor is just missing one easier option for a 5th from being super comfortable in this game, and it's just made this game extremely difficult. Sensor Tower goes down, the Lings hold position now. Burrow, we'll see if Kua caught that. There's a scan over here, he does scan over there, the Lings unburrow, so Reynor's going to pay attention to that too, runs away, and captures a Fungal Growth, Parasitic Bomb as well to get some good damage onto the Medivacs. The problem is we got to break our way out of your natural here. Liberator sieging the natural ramp is not pretty. Oh my god, the Ultras get some chomps off. And Liberator is still in the skies, though, doing a lot of work. One Ultra decides to donate itself forward, and with 40 army supply less, I think Reynor is starting to bleed out a little bit here, and then loses a Viper. It would have been a very expensive loss also. Another couple of Widowmine shots going off. The Zergling's taking some damage. We're still trying to chase through. Widowmine hits some of the Medivacs for friendly fire. We do load up. We do escape away. Last Liberator will fall to Biles. And Reynor cleans up, but not easily. And again, it's a serious base issue. The bottom left gets denied once more. Reynor needs to get rid of some bases of Cure or slow him down some way, somehow. That's just not happening at the moment. Marine Marauder, Ghost Lib, all coming up. Widowmine's Connect Force, use Zerglings there, nothing too crazy. Reynor up 20 workers. If he had somewhere to comfortably mine from those workers with, brilliant. But it's just been holding on to base 5. Cure's done a great job of denying all the, the viable locations. There's only 3 places you can really go to. He's denied the middle of the map well, the top of the map a couple of times, and he's denied the bottom of the map also. This Infestor sees this army on its way, so Reynor will know that Cure approaches. Ling's looking to counterattack once more. Those counterattacks, one of the few things that are definitely keeping Reynor somewhat in this game. Knocking the Terran economy down a little bit here and there has done a lot for him. That Widowmine is not as deadly as it could have been. Great split. Still finding the ability to do that. Once more, we're just kind of sieging this natural area, and it's so weird because Reynor's kind of defending so far to the left. but because of the map layout, the natural entrance is exposed. It's been an issue a few times over. The natural hatchery straight up dies. Reynor's maxed out, but he's down 30 army supply. No money in the bank, really, apart from a bit of gas, which is, I'm not sure, really going to come into play. And you're going to have to fight into a pre-siege, preset Terran force. I don't think that's a position you're breaking into comfortably, easily, or happily in the slightest right now. Blink Bane Ultra going to turn into the bottom right-hand side. Liberate is still sieging. We are going to see the Ultras jumping to a base. Hey, we're going to kill a base. That's something we needed a while ago, Frank, honestly, but we'll take it now. Better late than never. Now we're going to run to the upper right side. That's a base we could go and kill as well, maybe. And then Q would be a 3-base Terran, and maybe we're talking. Oh, the ghosts are here. Oh, no. They're going to cloak, and they're going to snipe, and they're going to say bye-bye, Ultralisks. Yeah. That was a great choice of defense. It doesn't mean the ghosts aren't over here, but Reynor does not find the chance to capitalize, and that was a ton of Ultras that go down. Ghost defense is going to be comfortable. There's a lot of ghosts to be able to defend that amount of Ultras too, and like I say, maybe it opened the opportunity to dive on this army if Reynor had known a bit more ahead of time, and also had this army not been in such a complicated position to engage into. Reynor runs up with the fungal growth, now a blinding cloud, parasitic bomb as well, putting in work, man. I mean, the spellcasters are doing as much as they possibly can. Reynor trying to drag himself out of the grave in this game, and it's just not happening yet as the Ultras trying to come through once again. Not going to get there. The Bioforce looking good. The Vipers, the Ultras still being chased away. Ultra trying to run down that ramp. One Ultra top right did burrow and still around there. A lot of stuff just not mined from Cure, but I just don't know if it matters. Reynor's mining way more. If he loses his main base, I mean, all the tech is here, right? And that's rebuild that you just surely cannot afford, even if you're mining more right now. I just don't believe that that's a realistic possibility. As what do you even rebuild? I mean, the Ultra Cavern can't be rebuilt anyway, so he just adds on a few more Ultras. This feels very, very rough. He's going to try and go top right again because he knows now the ghosts aren't in that top right side, so what provided a defense before is not going to be there this time. He actually, Cure just ran the SCVs away. Funnily enough, the Ultras are going to pop out and they're going to go for this entire mineral line. Planetary Fortress to kill an Ultra. It does. Reynor kind of selected. I thought he might burrow it and do something cute, but it doesn't happen. Like, I mean, we're at a point in the game where anything you keep alive is great. It's a Cure supply block, but he's still maxed out, so for the moment, it's kind of a whatever kind of question mark. Nice fungal, decent biles. What am I going to get? An Infestor, though, which is expensive. Ultras on the other side! Oh my god, this army is so low. Like Cure's army is so low on HP, but we just have no follow-up. Infestor doesn't dive up for the fungal. Reynor now is having issues building anything because he lost his production in the main base. It's kind of wild that Reynor, I mean, did he really kind of wrangle his way out of this? Not really, but like he's close to wrangling his way out of it. If just a couple of things hadn't happened, he might somehow be able to make it work. I do think that base is a smart base for Cure to take, especially now you're going to stop playing so much around the top of the map and you're going to play more to this left side because that's the realistically only bases on the map you need to hit from Reynor anymore. So taking that base just makes a lot of sense. It's going to be a very easily defended base. You're going to be close to it to pull back to it and play defensively on it as well. I can't imagine that Reynor finds a chance to take that down. This base is going to fall for him. He starts to re-expand to the top, but he's 80 to the 160 army supply. He doesn't have what he needs here. And quite frankly, Cure does have what he needs. Reynor Cure, man. Game after game, 20-minute bangers. As you see the lair, the Banes, the Lings all continue to come up. Liberators and Marauders coming out as well. Good numbers coming through. There is the new lair on the way. I mean, respect to Reynor. He is trying to hang on in there with everything he's got. And he made a lot of good moves. If he found the Ultras to deny those right side bases a little bit earlier. Because Cure, I think those bases were pretty open to attack. A lot of his run-bys were Lings, and they hit the natural on the third base nicely. I think if he found his way to those upper right bases a little sooner with some Ultras, this could have looked a bit different as well. Perhaps maybe that could have been his way to success here. Actually finishing in a moment as... well, Cure is back on that right-hand side. Link counter again, doing its thing, but man, yeah, how do we fight this army? The reality is we do not fight this army. This army is too good. Fungal is nice. You're going to need a lot of consistently good spellcasts to win this. There are only 2 medevacs, by the way. 2 more just spawned. Like, there is a healing issue for Cure. Like, he doesn't have a lot of healing. Does that make up for the fact that Reynor has half army supply? I don't think so. Wouldn't mind shot onto a couple of Banes, the Ultras. Moving through, the Infestors will take a chance to move toward the center of the map as well. Overseer still producing through about halfway down. Currently adding the hatchery on. Missile turret from Cure at the moment. Just reading the production tab because I'm kind of waiting for the final fight. Cure's going to systematically again go bottom left. Deny this hatchery trying to come in. Reynor hanging on for dear life, but just not getting the chance for it. Cure is 172 army supply, guys. I mean, he's got one mining base. Reynor was just about 80 army supply away from this being a winnable game. if only you just had 80 army supply left, huh? This resource lost at 13k difference. It's honestly not too bad, considering it's been a pretty bully-heavy game from Cure. Scans up to free a base there. Cure doing the right things, which is putting himself more ahead. He's afraid of attacking into the Zerg army, because the Zerg army is scary, right? Like the spellcasters, so he's going to make sure he's as ahead as he can be before taking the larger fight. Is Reynor getting time to get back into this? I don't think so. Because the reality is, all Reynor can build right now is Lingbane anyway. So I don't think you look at this as Kieran being, you're like, oh, I'm giving him a chance to play again. Like, yeah, his army supply gets bigger, but it's getting bigger with terrible units. And it's at the price of you then being able to, you know, be way more, way more better set up in case you do for some reason need to rebuild or so. I'm pretty sure Reynor is just waiting for Cure to attack him and to basically, get him out of the game. Reynor's not going to just leave the game out of nothing, but, like, he can't be far away from, like you say, he's going to try and fungal and stuff. He's going to try and play to the bitter end. But the reality is that Cure is, going to win. It's just he needs to commit to the fight to make Reynor leave the game. As Reynor going to go down to one single base now. Trying to play some miraculous defense. Even if you won the fight, I don't think there's, which is ridiculous to think of anyway, there's no way he'd have enough to run across the map and do all he needs to do. Surely not. 180 army supply for Cure. As Reynor rebuilds his spawning pool for the second time this game. He's lost it twice. Jeez. There's a little bit of creep left on the map, guys. There's a little bit of creep left, and we're going to cling on to it with everything we got. Reynor has 1,000 minerals. I mean, I don't even think good fungals are even like a saving grace, because I'm pretty sure this Terran army is so large, even if it's fungled, it kills anything that gets close to it. Like I don't think there's any possible follow-up that from a fungal that can make this work. Cure scatters some missile turrets around. Oh, fungal up the ramp. Don't really have a good way to get rid of the Liberators. It's a massive fungal. There's just no follow-up. GG. He killed a lot. He killed a lot, but he lost so much more because his army just wasn't it. Cure 2, Reynor. I feel like that's okay criticism on Talisman. I think 10,000 feet can work, personally. Anyway. In the top right-hand side, our blue Terran player is going to be Team Liquid's Cure. And in the bottom left, it is going to be our red Zerg, Reynor. Celestial Enclave, the map, as we have the hatchery to the low ground. Obviously, again, we got this half base in base as a worker only pathway into it. So we are 2-1 now, currently in favor of Cure. Cure won the mech game. No, the one game Cure lost was the mech game. He won Talisman and he won 10,000 feet in kind of similar ways, just stopping Zerg getting beyond 4 bases and keeping, I mean, honestly, I think the bigger issue for Reynor was, I actually think he would have been okay on the bases he had still. I think the bigger issue he truly ran into is that Cure denied a 4th and was immediately in a very good position. Sorry, one sec. Clear my throat. I think he denied a base, And from denying the base, he was immediately in a very good position to be able to... Yeah, he was immediately in a very good position to be able to kind of then pressure the next base for Reynor. And then Reynor is kind of caught in this choke point, and he has to kind of hold Kira off there. And Kira then obviously just makes sure he's got a couple of drops denying the bases in the bottom left, and so Reynor kind of feels a bit stuck as to where you're then meant to go. The problem is that Reynor, the far bottom left base was so creepless that defending over there overall was tough, especially because Kira was sieged outside of Reynor's natural, so Reynor can't shove too much to the bottom left, and so he feels he has to stay to the top, but then that bottom left base hence goes down, leaving you in a pretty rough sequence of events to kind of keep a base alive and to play the game through, and then end up kind of playing from behind the majority of the game. Reynor was building 4 bases early. That's a 4th hatchery coming up, so he's taking that half base in base and also taking his regular 3rd. Kira is going in base expand as well to the triple CC, so Reynor is going to match a bit of greed with a bit of greed and just go to 4 bases nice and quickly. Kira is not doing anything to really punish this. He is going to have a 2nd barracks before he goes into the factory, so there's arguably going to be some marine play, but I think Reynor's got plenty of time to get link speed online and prep against that marine play, because you've got to get the factory finished, starport on the way, before you can really drop those marines to the other side and get some damage with it. The lack of the factory does mean a lack of Hellions, and the lack of Hellions does mean that there's really no map control here from Kira, so Reynor's really not going to be punished for having like a late link speed at all, and so I think Reynor's build choice here is actually going to get him into a pretty good spot to begin Game 4. Just joining us again, guys, and you're wondering what else is coming up. Obviously, Reynor Kira right now has turned into a great series. After this, Bjorn takes on Lambo, as we have some more Terran versus Zerg action. The Shopify Rebellion boys up against each other. And then it is the winner of that Bjorn Lambo series to battle against Clem, as we have another quarterfinal to round out the day. The rest of these playoffs all happen tomorrow, so you guys can join us for that. Reynor Kira definitely making up for that faster PvP we had earlier on. We're almost back on schedule right now, 15 minutes off, so yeah, we're almost back on schedule. Looking good after some faster series, starting the day off initially. The Marines is going to step on forward, the couple of depots coming online. We got settled down over here. Engineering base, Marines and medevacs in production, adding on stim pack. Engineer bay about to finish. Couple depots coming through. We have the Lings, the Queens, the melee upgrades all coming about as well. And yeah, just double upgrade. I mean, it's all greed from Reynor, right? It's pretty much as greedy as you can be. You know, double melee upgrades on the back of 4 hatcheries. Yet to start the lair up. There is, I mean, right now you need to make sure you've got enough units to fend off these medevacs and these Marines. I think it's going to be fine, because like I said, Kira's played the triple CC early as well. This is not a 2-1-1 initially and Reynor's being greedy. This is greed versus greed, and then you kind of go from there. So you're going to take the chance to throw a hatchery into that bottom right corner. That's just another base coming online. With 3 more barracks coming up from Kira is going to power him straight up to 5 racks on the 3 bases. It's the 3 extra racks beyond that we kind of question in terms of, are we going to see an 8 racks, or what are we going to start seeing here? Fun position here, because you obviously set up outside the in-base, and there's a lot of dropping potential in different ways you can maybe move that Marine medevac army from Kira. Just going to get an Overlord and then route elsewhere for the moment. Marines pull back to that right side. Lair about a complete melee upgrade. Not far from being done. A couple creep teamers will begin to go down. The Queens and the Lings will be there to push the Marine medevac force away. And we see the extra barracks coming up, so I mentioned getting up towards 8 racks and maybe looking toward that big old kind of solid pushing composition. That's where we're going right now. I'm not sure if this is a great 8 racks map off the very get-go. I'd be curious to see what direction Kyo wants to attack into, what sort of area he looks to really punish. Because right now, I mean, it's a sizable map. You're going to have to come out the front of your natural. Remember that it's also... Okay, he's going to start at 4th base. So he's going to go 8 racks, but he's going to have a very fast 4th base behind it. So he's not super committed to the... He's not super committed to the kind of 8 racks attack winning the game. He's very happy to have a transition out of it. So that's good to see. Reynor going to play straight into the 2-2 upgrades in the Infestation Pit, by the way. So this is going to be Ling Infested, no Banelings. A style that we have seen a fair amount of lately. It's really kind of popped off and become a bit more popular as of late. I'm going to see a little bit of it here today as well. The big macro game. I mean, this has just been full on setting up into just pure heavy economy. Heavy economy, heavy infrastructure. These guys are loading up to play the big macro late game. First Infest is on the way out from Reynor. Hive on the way is going to give you access toward an Ultra Cavern. This time you see Reynor obviously bottom right. If that gets struck, he'll then make sure he defends the left side. So he's got that kind of double base to work from for base 5. I don't know if he wants to really fight this right now with these Zerglings. Sorry for the couple of frame drops, guys. That's, again, just our Korean server connection not being our friend. It's not being seen by the players. It's not you guys. It is just us in-game. Not really much we can do about it apart from hope that someday the Korean server gets upgraded again. Or something, or whatever it used to be. Just bring it back to how it was. The Lings will be now teamed with Infestors, and that's nice. We are going to get a Baneling Nest down later in this game with the Ultra Cavern coming up. Adrenal Glands too. A lot of prep. Reynor is, what, a minute and a half away from maybe having a really good kind of composition that he's been aiming for in this. Here is going to start shoving with the rest of the army, though, so he's going to start coming across the map. Definitely going to be some time to buy here as Reynor, with the Infestors, with those fungal growths, going to have a huge role to play right now. Ling's going to get up to the top, threaten the counterattack. Got a lot of units through the center. Trying the counterattack or trying to come in from the other way. That's a massive stim that you force, and that's a lot of medevac energy going to be drained already. It's a few steps backward for Kyo, where he's not stepping towards the army of Reynor and not stepping toward a Reynor who is now going to be able to start building ultras if he wants to. Gain speed starts up from him as well. He starts 1 ultra, Kindness Plane, so again, a lot of investment in upgrades and setting up. The Lings are going to find this base, and the Planetary Fortress is just about to finish. Not sure if the Lings really want to fight that bio versus that's just where they end up kind of, feeling as though they can maybe get some value out. The Lings are not going to get this planetary, and Kira is set up on the left-hand side, so he is going to find himself the hatchery of Reynor. Reynor has the bottom right back, though. Again, as long as you're ping-ponging from one side of the map to the other with the bases, Reynor's going to feel okay. As long as he has some kind of access to a 5th, he's probably going to feel alright overall. He's going to get back on this planetary. That's a dead planetary this time. That's too many Zerglings to really deal with. He doesn't even have Adrenal Glands yet, but that's only going to make things better for Reynor with those Ling trades. I mean, there's not enough units here, and that's Reynor. He's going to have access into the main base even, potentially. Infestors are going to try and hold this position over here. This is the important part. Can Reynor hold off that position? He's in the main. He's going to be on top of the production structure. Secure in some trouble over there. Ultra going to try and come forward. Kindness Plane not done just yet. Big stim in. Fungal growths dropping. The Infestors hitting fungals everywhere. The Ultras, despite the lack of kindness, are still getting through and chomping their way through the army. Q's supply has been ultralisked as he gets demolished, chomped and chewed on, spat out the other side. Reynor is still in the main base, shutting down reinforcements. A complete and utter shutdown as game number 4 goes to Reynor, and we will have... let's get this going in. Yeah, well, guys, we're not gonna replay a game. I mean, the general ruling from my point of view is if neither player complains for the entirety of the game, then we just move on. Like, mistake on my side. I didn't catch it. Like, I just took the maps that they were saying. That's my bad. Neither player picked up on it. We're just going to move on. It doesn't need to be a big deal. It's not a big issue. I think everyone is fine and happy. So, we just continue. And even if you complain now, like, Sekio's like, wait, that wasn't the right map. Like, you can't complain when the map's over is the problem. Like, if you don't realize it when the map's starting, then, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of on you to kind of keep it right as well, So, the TLDR is no one's going to complain because it's not that big of a deal, so, yeah. No issues, no punishments, nothing like that. It was my fault, it was their fault. No one picked up on it, so it's, like I say, it's a whatever issue. What's up, Borga711? Thank you so much for the 6-month resub on the Prime. Appreciate you, buddy. Should ban them both from ever competing? Yes. You know what? I like that approach. And I should also ban myself from casting for not picking up on it as well. I love it. This is going to work out brilliantly for everyone. Incredible. Hatch gas pool coming online. Reaper orbital coming up as we take a few moments here. Overlord coming into play. We get settled down. Reaper on the way out. Game 5 of this series. Satellite years. That we've not seen too much of throughout for the most part. Excited to see what the I'm excited to see what the base denial situation is. I'm excited to see where Q is going to be attacking, where Reynor's trying to expand to, see if Reynor can get up towards that extra base. In the games where he's been able to get the extra bases up, he's looked great. In the games he's not been, it's been a struggle to survive basically throughout. That's being the situation. Couple queens coming up, the factory on the way, the few Zerglings will step forward, and the Reaper already taking some nibbles. That Zergling is low, that Zergling is dead, and the drone will become a spore as well, so that will be a save. We actually do lose a Zergling there, we push back the Reaper, and that Reaper will be low, has to step away. We're taking a middle of the map expansion initially, so expanding forward here, outward. Could then move over here for a 4th base. This high ground position, I think 4th and 5th together could be interesting, although this base surely is going to be difficult to hold against the Terran. You've got a bit more option of left and right expansions, which I think is going to keep Q moving left and right as well. Not the huge, largest of maps to go left and right on, but it does kind of keep, force you to make that move as the Terran player, and that should do a lot for you as well, so. Hey, just being annoying to the Queen and trying to keep it away from doing its job for a little bit with the grenade off of creep spread. Takes a few shots there as the Reaper just confirming the hatchery and so on. Creep tumor comes down. The Reaper is not in position to deny it. It's already low, so there's no way we deny the creep tumor now. And that is a big creep tumor because it connects the natural to the 3rd base, which obviously does a lot for you. Twins and Lings coming up. The starport swaps to the tech lab, and the command center will finish in the main base of Q very shortly. Reaper Hellions going to try and come around the left side. A couple Queens are going to be there. Still got Banshee, Hellion, Marine coming up. Ling Speed and Queens in production. Drones on the way. What features on this map are just standard? I would say this map's just more about the layout. There is this kind of rich Vespene base, so it's a 6-patch rich Vespene gas if you can hold a more central position later in the game. Outside of that, it's a pretty typical, you can kind of take your 3rd here. This kind of is an interesting area, right? The fact that this 3rd and 4th are kind of high-grounded together. So that can be kind of maybe interesting. But otherwise, and then there's a couple more kind of central bases. Terrans are going to love the middle of the map bases, right? So I think it's more about layout than specific features. The towers are blocked by rocks as well, so you can't take the watchtowers until you clean the rocks up. So you can only take towers later in the game, not early in the game. So that is, I think that's a pretty good summary of quick tidbits you need to know. Like I said, I think the majority of the rest of it is just, let's see how the players expand and let's see what they do. You can see Q, I mentioned this back on Talisman, that, Banshees have multiple ways to harass nowadays, and he's going to go for the alternate pathway now in this Game 5, which is going to be the Hyperflight Rotors and the Speed. And it's not with mech, it's with Bio. So this is just, instead of Cloak, you're going to build Hyperflight Rotors, and you're just going to see the value in being able to outspeed the Zerg defenses and to reposition those Banshees and be able to get so much done with them. And I think what's been cool so far is its speed has not been, or Hyperflight Rose has not just been a direct replacement of Cloak, because we're still seeing Cloak used a fair amount as well. It's been a fun kind of way to switch it up, so it's just like Banshees are now not a one-dimensional, we're gonna Cloak. They're a little bit more kind of, you can pick and choose. Cloak might be better on some map layouts. Speed might be better on other map layouts where you feel like you can ping between 2 different bases very quickly, where you feel like your direct route from mineral line to mineral line is quick and the Zergs is perhaps a bit slower, for example. So it's pretty fun in that regard. I'm not sure if the Protoss and the Zerg players are finding it fun, but I'm finding it fun. Queen's in great position there from Reynor. Plays a defensive position straight away, gets where he needs to be. Banshees are turned around. Meanwhile, Reapers and Hellions gather themselves in the middle of the map, and we'll just sit there peacefully for the moment. I tell you what, we have not got much going on for Q. The creep spread is pushing across nicely from Reynor. He's double expanding up to the 4th and 5th base options. He's taking left and right side. The creep is looking good. What is Q going to start doing about this? I mean, Stimmin 1-1 on the way. Once we get there, we might be, be a bit more out on the map. But the Hellions have not been super active this game. Going to get a couple of creep teamers in the center now, but man, they've really been pretty slow going for the most part of this, up until this stage. For the, I mean, this is nice. A couple of these creep teamers right in the center going to open up your main pushing direction. It's interesting because usually you want to push and end up on a fourth base of the Zerg, but in this case, I wonder if you want to push through the center and just hold the middle of the map. Because what happens if you take the center position here? Like, if the Terran sets up here, how does the Zerg surround that army? It's very difficult, is the reality of the situation, because you're just... It's so hard to get units all... You basically have to run units down to the far left, far bottom right of the map, and then in to make the surround happen. That's very difficult to pull off. These Banshees do eventually start getting some drone kills here, as this Queen's trying to dance back and forth, reinforcing Queen's coming over. Banshee's finally going to give it up. 8 drones. It's a little bit later in the game, which means that those drones, go down at a point where they're a little bit more replaceable. You lose 8 drones the first time the Banshees show up, and that feels really bad. You lose drones when you're on 70+ workers already. That feels a little bit better. Like, yes, you don't want to lose those drones, but the timing of losing those drones is important to note. So yes, let's take note that, there is success on the Banshees. It's success on the Banshees at a much later stage where it's maybe less impactful. Also note, 8 barracks this game and no fourth base behind it, so Reynor is going to be up against a Zerg who is ready to run at him. It's going to get interesting. We have got a few Fungals available. The Lings are going to be looking to put a lot of work in here as well as we come across right now. Queen's going to fire, a couple of Hellbats getting pushed the other way. Reynor already looking to wrap around with the Zerglings, maybe intercept, maybe hit the run by. His choice is there. A lot more Lings coming out, another Infestor coming through too. Time is Reynor's friend, because he has 83 workers. These Lings are going to get a catch on those Marines. No combat shield yet, by the way, on the Marines. Fungal growth buying you some time. The Queens are dealing with the Hellbats, so the Lings not having to run into those just yet. Ling's doing a good job, like I said, of cleaning up those reinforcements. Looks as though it's go time from Reynor. He's happy with the chance to clean this up from both sides. Great Fungal in the center to begin with. There's a couple of Hellbats in the back that are going to be great defensively there. Oh, Reynor just does not have the Lings to do this. That was not the fight he was looking for. Cure just going to decimate. Wow. Reynor picked the fight as well. He chose the moment to go. It was not the moment. And that is going to be Reynor falling away in this game 5. Cure going to knock down one of our Zerg hopefuls in the round of 12. And even though we had 3 Zergs make the playoffs, there's going to be 1 Zerg left with a chance of making round of 8 in Lambo, taking on Bjorn up next, because Cure right now has a little bit too much. And I wonder if Reynor had to pick the fight in that moment. I feel like he was doing a good job. He chose to take this fight, and he just didn't have the numbers to really follow through. The Fungals were good as well. He was just missing Zerglings, I think, at the end of the day, and just couldn't quite get those through on it all. Continue to push up. Tank sieging. Lings absent right now. We're going to try and get to a couple of Ultras, which would be great, but I mean, he was asking to get to a lot, basically, was the problem, and I think right now we are just going to be stuck in trouble. Banshee's going to get a couple more creep teamers. Marines still pushing through. Ultras pull back a little further. Medivac setting up. Nice Fungal growth going down onto the Marines. Doing what we can to try and survive, but the reality is that Kira has a lot of stuff right now, and he's continuing to rally forward with a lot of stuff. Is there a world where Ultras can come out with kindness and change it? I'd be very surprised. I'd be very surprised, but I mean, he's going to give it a go, right? Like, Reynor has nothing else to do than to try and attempt for that. Those Lings actually doing better against those reinforcements than I thought they would. They actually won that fight, looking at it on the minimap, by the way. So we're going to try and run down here. Queen's trying to get involved. Fungal growth on those Marines. Good transfusion on the Ultra, giving it a chance. It actually chomps through a bunch of those Marines. Ultra coming over. Siege tank in the front going down. Ultra is up against some very low HP Marines right now. Reynor is making a defense. The tech is powering up. The ARAX is being dismantled. And we are equal on supply just like that. The fight is good, and Reynor is going to live for the moment. I did not dare believe in the Ultras, I'm not going to lie. You kind of think, like, Ultras are against Marines, there's always a chance, but he was, like, in tough position. Still took a really good Fungal. I mean, right now, here's the issue, is that Q sets up onto a 4th base, so he looks toward the future. So can Reynor play this out into a good kind of game that kind of plays on from here? He's still a multi-base Zerg, he's double expanding to get back towards a 5th and a 6th base. if we can shut down these medevacs and keep this game, like, okay for him for these next few moments, like if he gets through the next couple of minutes, then yeah, I maybe kind of like it, because Kira is still yet to put his 4th base on location, right? I can't believe that those Lings won that fight against the Marine tank that were running by as well, by the way. That did not look like it should have happened to me, as we are going to see the Ultra again trying to get chomping. Good job by the Marines. Get behind the mineral lines, and the Ultra can't get behind those minerals easily, so it can't come in to help that fight as much. What are we left with? 2 Infestors, 6 Ultras on the map. Here with a big wave of Marauders now coming up as well. That's obviously going to be a major aid at this point in time. Marine step up, the Ling Ultra going to step around. We are going to see that Infestor, Fungal available. And that's super scary. The last thing you want is to get fungled on the ground with an Ultra nearby you and to lose those Marines that can't lift into a medevac anymore. Kira on his way to 3-3 upgrades, that will definitely help things. Do we have Adrenal Glands? Yes, we have a lot of the upgrades here from Reynor. He's working on the bailing speed. A little bit of an army supply lead for Kira. He's going to push up this position again. Reynor does not have the creep to help him fight all over this location, but he's got some creep, so maybe there's something doable for him right now. Ultras are going to look for a bit of a fight. He's actually just trying to evacuate that position. He's counterattacking Ling Ultra on the other side of the map. Okay, I mean, he's going to find a lot of stuff over here. That Ultra especially is going to be difficult to get rid of. There's not a surprise group of Ghosts to play defense like this beat in an earlier game of a similar situation, as we are going to see those SCVs are pulling into the map. I mean, Reynor's supply blocked right now. But yeah, these, okay, the SCVs ran towards the Ultra because there was reinforcements arriving. Lings are still trying to do their thing. Adrenal Gland Lings on equal upgrades are surprisingly effective. And we will see Reynor able to do a good bit of troublemaking. And this is amazing! The extra Lings show up and they're going to come in. The second wave catches Kira off guard and he gets a bunch of extra SCVs. Now Kira is a 45 SCV Terran, and that economy is hurting more than it should do. He is actually doing a good job of kind of just going blow for blow there. That last little bit was painful. Reynor is still a 5-base Zerg despite giving up this left side. The bigger issue of giving up this left side is that Kira can now set up a defense on this high ground, set up the middle of the map position, and try and play from there. I imagine that will be a bigger factor than anything else, having that position to play with. Reynor trying to get the +3 carapace will help him a lot. Guess what's back? It's the run by! Zerglings into this mineral line. There's a tank on the high ground playing defense. Hey, that tank is not safe though. These Lings stream in. That wall off is not completed, and so in we go. Tank will fall. There are some bio units coming back the other way. Ultras are taking a moment to just clean up some units in the front already, as things are separated a little bit right now from Kira. Here we go. We've got a fungal growth coming down, and this time there's Balins to join the party. They're down the bottom as well. Ultras all around, and they are giving a big old cuddle to this Terran army. And that Terran army is not having a good time. Pushed away once more. Lings in the main. It's 12 more SCVs dead, and Reynor said, Wardy, you need a Zerg in the quarterfinals? I got your back still. We might even have 2 still, because there's still another ZvT to go. Don't count Lambo out. This is going to be a cleanup on this top side. This army is going to go down, and Reynor is going to force Kira to lift and get the hell away. Well, get the hell away. Get the hell back to defend, because he's going to have to pull back here, maybe. Yeah, I was going to think, can we keep going as Reynor? It's a scary moment to kind of make that decision, isn't it? But it's going to pull back for now. A few more Zerglings set up and join back together. They move around. The Spire coming through. Marine Marauder tank continuing to build for the moment. Bio back to the left side. Ling Ultra looking to make a dive through. Couple of shots. Ling's going down. Ling's on the right side again. Of course they are, because who is Reynor to stop running by? Oh, he's not that man. Push back right away. Spire is about halfway done. Spire, Spire, Spire. Just in case there's Liberators, I guess, right? I'm just trying to think what we really want to Spire for right now, and I can only imagine just make sure the Liberators do not become too big of a factor. I wouldn't mind seeing like 1 or 2 more Infestors, just to kind of make sure that this army supply of Q doesn't get that one ridiculous fight. Yeah, more Libs on the way up. The thing is that Q is not rich enough to build Ghosts, but Libs are usually a great stepping stone against Ultras to kind of get you through the game, usually. So the same idea here is basically that you can use these Liberators to kind of survive where you can't afford the Ghosts. It's a good position for Kua. Some of the Ultras will start to catch up. It's time to lift and leave. Kua needs to take efficient fights like that if he wants to try and stay in this Game 5. We thought it was over. We thought Reynor was dead. But Kua is not winning this game right now. And like I say, I like the Libs. I like slowing it down. But Reynor's doing the right thing in preparation for that. Corruptor's producing. I think the only thing I'd say is maybe, possibly, could we do with like a couple less Ultras and a couple more Infestors and maybe a couple of Vipers. I think it might just be time to look towards some Spellcasters, or some additional Spellcasters, right? I understand filling the supply with Corruptors, but Reynor also, like, I looked at his unit count, I'm like, man, why does he have so few units? As we are going to be seeing the Corruptors looking to cut off these Medivacs, and they are in trouble if they're going to get stuck in the corner. One of them takes a turn over here. There's a Spore there, but nothing else. I guess units can respond. Reynor, I think, is on... well, okay, not much gets out. A couple of Marauders. The units in the top right. The Medivacs are actually not... yeah, the Medivacs have not gone away yet. We're going to see a couple of Corruptors trying to corner them, but probably just going to aim for the drop because the Corruptors try to get to the top right side. So these Medivacs are doomed. I mean, like I say, it's just going to be about getting what we can out of it, but everything will die. And that's not what you want to be having right now as Q, who's desperate to try and max out, because if he maxes out, he will have more standing army supply than Reynor. Losing units like this right now takes away that potential army size advantage he's looking to play with. Reynor is missing that +3 melee upgrade. I think that was a choice earlier to go without the +3 melee, as just like I got to prioritize what I spend my money on right now. We're diving through Liberators, but man, there's just no good answer to these Ultras. Once again, they're coming through, and it's chomping time, and it's see you later, Cure, as Reynor takes game 5 and fights his way, grinds his way, and struggles his way to victory in this series and into the quarterfinals.